Hi everyone, here we go. This is my first hair tutorial, so here we go. As you can see, I'm starting out with wet hair. It is just combed back. I have a little bit of product in it. What I like to use is Moroccan oil curl cream. You can see it's just slightly damp. I have a little bit of this in, probably about like a nickel size. And most of the time I actually let my hair dry naturally. I kind of just we'll kind of brush it back and get a little bit of height in the front and then brush these sides kind of up and back, you know, so you can get that kind of DA in the back. And then I use kind of my fingertips to rake the back. So you can see it creates just kind of like a little bit of a tail in the back there. So, but today, obviously we don't have time to let it dry, so we are going to do a blow dry. What I start doing is just to get a little bit of volume in the front. It's nothing fancy what I usually do with my hair. You know, just gonna So you can see, it looks like cray-cray, okay? I just try and get a little bit of height in the front. You can see the sides are just a mess. My cut is totally disconnected or undercut. The top portion of the haircut is totally separate from the rest, as you can see. So it gets to be a little bit tricky with the sides, you know, because right now it looks completely like a mushroom and absolutely hideous. So what then I like to do is try and sculpt this up so it hugs the head a little bit more on the sides. So when I turn the dryer on, you'll see I'll be concentrating on trying to get that a little bit more streamlined and everything. So here we go. Notice as I'm using the dryer, I'm really trying to direct that air into the root area to really get that direction. The ends are just going to flow and fall into place, but whenever we're trying to get hair to do something, whether we want it to go in a certain direction or whether we want height, you always want to think about the root area, how the hair is traveling. It's traveling from the root, and that's a term we actually use in cosmetology. We use what direction is the hair traveling. So we're wanting this to kind of go up and back. So we want to do that. Really concentrate on that. And you can kind of see how it's starting to shape in a little bit, getting that almost like pseudo pompadour feel. And then what I'll do is I'll go back down the center with a round brush just to get a little bit of height in there. So I'll show you how I do that. These are some of my favorite round brush. These are made by Bioionic, and you can see this is metal in here, and they're vented so the hair dries a lot faster, and then the metal kind of heats up and acts almost like a little bit of an iron. So I'm going to go right down the middle just to get a little bit of height. I have the height in the front, and we want to get a little bit of height behind it to get kind of like that almost pseudo mohawky, as you can see, very much pink inspired hair. So we're going to go right down the middle. are dry, you can see now that gave me a little bit more volume down the center. And what I like to do is I like to go back through and I like to mix a little bit of, this is a curl cream because my hair is actually naturally curly, so it has a lot of kind of body on its own. So sometimes I need to try and whip it into shape with product because it gets a little cray-cray, as you can see. So I use just a little bit of this. You can see about that much. And I almost use it as a pomade or a hair dressing. This can be either used on wet or dry hair. It has a nice heaviness to it, but I use it almost like more like a hair dressing. And so the correct way to apply pomade, you can see you work it onto the palms of the hands. And then you brush back over the hair using your palms, just really getting on the tips, almost like you're shoe shining the hair a little bit to get it in there. And then as you get it distributed, you can go back through, and I use my fingertips to try and work it a little bit more down to the root area to give the hair what we call grip. So you can see it really has a lot of nice texture, but it helps kind of now define it a little bit so it's not so fluffy. Now I'm trying to work a little bit more into the ends. Okay. And see, we have that height. Now we want to make these sides kind of hug. And I always like to tilt my hair over to the side just a little bit. Every once in a while I'll do it straight back, but generally on anyone's face shape, it's a little bit too severe for me straight back. It's very dramatic. So what I like to do is do that. Just kind of like almost kick it to the side a little bit. Okay? So you can see we have the basic shape here. And then while it's combed back, I take a little bit of hairspray. And we're not just going to like finish the hair off. What we're trying to do, we're really trying to get this kind of sculpted, almost pseudo Girlie Pompadour, we'll call it, look. So we really just want to spray the hairspray close to that root area there to really kind of direct that. So you can see we're really actually going to kind of like wet the hair down with it. And then I like to use a paddle brush. I go back over like that and kind of sculpt it up like that. And you can see that really kind of tightens it up. Can you see the difference? And then while it's still wet, you can sculpt that side over so you get that kind of DA style. Now we're going to do the same on this side here. We're going to go up in there at the root area and on the back. And you can feel it on your scalp. It's definitely very wet. And we're going to do that. I'm going to comb back, brush back, and while it's still wet, using your fingers to kind of like sculpt that in. And then I'll go through and just kind of break it up a little bit and play with the hair and manipulate it. And then I always have a mirror that I use to kind of check the back, check to see how it looks. Okay, well, that's looking good. We got a little bit of a hole right here. So we're going to kind of tend to that, and then kind of like gather that to a point back there. That's what I like it to do. And that's basically how I do my hair. I love it like this. Sometimes I let it dry naturally, like I said, just for a little bit of a more wavy look, and sometimes I do it a little bit more totally up in the center. You know, a little bit more real, really almost like mohawky. It depends what I'm wearing that night, when I'm kind of sporting, what mood I want to go for. Sometimes I want it to be very chic and modern, and other times I want it to be like almost a little bit more rocker. So you can kind of play with the silhouette of it. So there you can see. Here's the front, here's the side, and here's the back. Hope you guys enjoyed.